Welcome in everyone to another episode of 410 Sports Talk. I'm Glenn Martin here with my co-host James Haskell and of course DK in the background. Jimbo, we got quite a lot to talk about in preparation for this Ravens-Packers matchup that is turning out to be it's not just this game, it's everywhere around the league. It's certainly going to be influenced by this daggone virus that just won't go away. Now, multiple teams dealing with a ton of COVID players placed on the COVID list. And in fact, it's causing some games to be rescheduled. However, it doesn't look like it's hitting this game quite as much as it's hitting others.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a really interesting one because just a busy week in the NFL in general. Lots of news regarding the Ravens, outside the Ravens, the NFL in general. So we're going to get right into it. Of course, guys, we are here to preview like Glenn said, the Ravens and Packers, but I think it's also our obligation and duty to keep you guys up to date on all the news that's going on, because there's definitely, especially when it could affect the Ravens, right? Like right now they seem to be dodging bullets, but we've been there before. Last year we were the poster child for COVID. It seems to be the Browns right now. So yeah,
Rams
let's get right.
But
yeah, exactly. Yeah, see, man, Odell Beckham Jr. can't get a win, can he?
Everywhere he goes, it's just COVID outbreaks.
Jeez Whiz. Well, maybe he should, stay off. Remember the boat party, that whole thing.
Oh yeah, before that playoff game. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So should we talk about that before we get into the injuries of the game? I think that's probably the best place to start, don't you think? Because there's two things. I want to talk about the postponements, but I also want to talk about the rule changes. I think there's a discussion to be had there, don't you think?
No doubt. Yeah, absolutely. These protocols are ramping up, and they're trying to put the brakes on the spread that looks like is occurring right now. So I understand DK has some slides here, but I'm quickly just going to mention a couple things. So you're right. Baker Mayfield, you mentioned before the show started, Baker Mayfield was unhappy with the protocols and
Right.
was saying if you really cared about us, you'd reschedule the game. And he got his wish. So whether it was his, announcements that made it happen or what, either way, that game has been postponed. So now the Browns will take on the LV Raiders, the Las Vegas Raiders, Monday, December 20th at 5 p.m. And then two other games that got rescheduled due to the same thing, COVID outbreaks. The Washington football team takes on the Philadelphia Eagles Tuesday, December 21st at 7. And then, of course, the Rams, who are dealing with they might be the most hit. I think they have 30 total players on the COVID list, which is absolutely insane. The Rams take on the Seattle Seahawks Tuesday at 7 also. So, man, the only good thing is if you like football, you got an extra day of it. You got an extra Monday night game and you got an extra day of it on Tuesday. So just to quickly go over, we have a Saturday game this week, the New England Patriots at the Indianapolis Colts at 8:15 on NFL Network. Then a bunch of games, of course, on Sunday. Now 2 games Monday night, the Raiders-Browns at 5, the Vikings-Bears at 8:15, and 2 games, of course, like I mentioned, on Tuesday with the football team and Eagles.
How are
playing,
they both on Fox?
I guess it may just be determined by your location.
Regional?
Yeah, whichever one. So we'll probably get the Washington football team one, unfortunately.
That'll be the fun one, right?
Yeah. The Irrelevancy Bowl. But yeah, so lots of changes this week, guys. So and more could be on the horizon. I mean, you just never know with this virus. There could be more postponements, but hopefully this is it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's obviously something that's worth mentioning. But I also want to get into DK. Do you still have the note on the change of regulation? Not regulations. What am I looking for, Glenn?
Protocol.
Protocol. There we go. The change in protocol for COVID-19, because this inevitably affects our Baltimore Ravens, because for the entire team. For those of you that are just listening and not viewing, I am going to do my very best to read this to you. But the NFL statement as of yesterday for COVID-19 protocol updates says, throughout the pandemic, we have continuously evolved our protocols to meet our goal of advancing the safety of the players, coaches, and staff, not according to Baker Mayfield. The changes we are making today aim to address the increase in cases and the advent of the Omicron variant, effective immediately, says Roger Goodell. All clubs will implement preventative measures that have proven effective. 1, masking regardless of vaccination status. Should have been a thing anyway. Remote or outdoor meetings, eliminating in-person meals, and no outside visitors while on team travel. Sounds like a blast. Mm-hmm. We will continue to strongly encourage booster shots as the most effective protection. Yeah. So, I mean, definitely some differences, but am I missing something, Glenn? And DK, back me up here as well if you know anything. Isn't there a change in the protocol as far as testing positive with while being fully vaccinated? Can't you test positive while being fully vaccinated and be asymptomatic and come back and play even though you tested positive?
Well, what I'm seeing here, it looks like Dan Graziano, who's a member of ESPN staff, says that the new NFL COVID protocols make it possible for anyone who's tested positive this week to test back in, he says in quotes, and play this weekend. So, yes, even if you've tested positive, as of yesterday, as long as you test, as long as you're vaccinated and showing no symptoms, apparently you can test back in if you have a negative on Saturday.
Okay, so I'm just going to read this first portion of this because I think it's important. It says, after evaluating our testing data, we have updated the addendum D, which is referring to, I think what you're talking about, Glenn, the testing back into the screening and testing protocol and the testing required for a fully vaccinated player, tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 staff member to test out, in quotes, like you were talking about, quarantine following a confirmed positive test. Effective immediately, any such fully vaccinated individual should be tested every day after the confirmed positive test. Any such fully vaccinated individual shall be released from quarantine provided they are asymptomatic for at least 24 hours by one of the following options. Option 1, she or he receives 2 BRL PCR test results taken on the day after the positive swab. So obviously I'm assuming those have to be negative. 2, receives 1 test. Oh man, my eyes are being tested right here. Take on the day after the positive test, therefore, which is either negative or produce a CT value of 35 or greater. So that has to do with the test in and of itself, and a negative MESA test result within 24 hours. And then 3, receives 2 negative MESA test results, but must be 2 separate swabs on day 1, the day after the positive swab was taken. Therefore, maximum limit of 3 tests may be taken per day. Whew, that was a mouthful.
Right. I'm officially confused. Yes, Lisa, I'm confused too.
So basically,
dumb it down for me, Jimbo.
The way that I understand it is that within a 24-hour period of testing positive, you can then test back in if you test negative. And there are a number of ways to do that. So basically, they're giving you 3 combinations of tests that you can get to pass the exam, right? You can do the MESA test. You can do, I think it was called the PCR test. You can do a combination of both.
Okay.
But within a 24-hour period of testing positive, if you are asymptomatic and test negative within that 24-hour period within those exams, then you're good to go. Pretty crazy to think about, don't you think?
Yeah, and from my understanding, that final negative test can't come on game day. Is that correct? It has to at least come the day before the game. So if you're playing on Sunday, you'd have to at least get that final negative on Saturday. But that's kind of interesting that they made that change to where you don't have that, because wasn't there like a window between 2 negative tests you had to have? Now they're saying you can now take those concurrently or something like that.
Right, because before it was a longer window if you weren't vaccinated and a shorter window if you were.
Gotcha.
But now the window, if you're vaxxed, is 24 hours, which was, I think before it was like 3 to 5 days. And if you weren't, it was like 10 days. So, I mean, it's crazy truncated. So in regards to the Ravens, I don't know what it means for Chuck Clark.
Well, here's what John Harbaugh said. He can test back. If he gets a negative on Saturday, he can play on Sunday.
But yeah, it's going to be interesting, not just the Ravens, but all these guys, because how many cases are there are there really a lot of guys that are testing negative 24 hours or whatever? You know what I mean? Like that soon afterward? I would bet no. I think if you test positive, you're in most cases, not all, you're probably going to be positive for at least, a few days. So it'll be interesting.
I'm not that bright, Jimbo.
But I mean, you would think, right? Like
you would think, but honestly, I have no idea. So
right.
The good thing is that the outbreak isn't severe when it comes to the Ravens.
Yeah.
And so right now it looks like the biggest player for the Ravens that's going to be, iffy here is going to be Chuck Clark, who was put on the COVID list earlier this week. But as John Harbaugh said in his recent presser, there's a chance. And it sounded like he was feeling pretty good about the chances. But let's say Chuck Clark can't go. Boy, is it a good thing we got Tony Jefferson back in town who can slide right in.
Yeah, and Cakes mentioned that in the chat. What's up, Cakes? But I also wanted to say that I almost picked Tony Jefferson as my breakout defensive player of the game.
So did I.
But so at what point does he need to be elevated, like officially elevated? Has he been officially elevated? Like, do you know what I'm saying?
I haven't seen an official elevation.
We signed him to the practice squad, and it's Friday.
Yeah, and he can still be that game. You can elevate a couple guys. As long as you haven't done it too many times, you can elevate them and then they can quickly get demoted right back to practice squad. So he's eligible to be that guy this week. And if they need him to, I mean, the good thing is he knows the defense and he spent most of this year with the Niners. So it's not like he's coming off the streets. So hopefully if need be, he'd be ready to go.
Yeah. And John mentioned multiple times, it looks like he's in great shape. Which is also another plus. But anyway, we wanted to get that off, start out on the jump because it's going to be all over the news. We don't want you guys to be confused. Certainly when it comes to your Baltimore Ravens.
Still confused a little bit though, but it's hard.
I hope that helped a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you did an admirable job, Jimbo. It's just I'm not that bright. And
it's a lot of jargon and
yeah,
you know what I mean? It's a lot
Mesa test. I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, it's a table test. Mesa means table in Spanish, so it's a table test.
There you go. Absolutely. I'm sure that's exactly what they
That's meant. Right. You just lay on the table and they smack you in the forehead.
That's it.
All right, so let's get right to it then, right?
Yeah, let's get into some of the like normal injury concerns.
Sure.
Not virus related. Yeah, absolutely. So there's quite a few, as there has been pretty much all season when it comes to the Ravens, and there's a bunch of guys that are right now kind of on the fence and when if they're going to play and if they're not going to play. So as we can see here, thanks to DK pulling this up. So the first of which, the first two guys I looked for on here is guys I think we sorely missed, and that was Nick Boyle and Project Pat Ricard. So the good news is they both got in a limited session on Friday. And the reason that's good is because although Pat didn't practice up to that point, if you don't practice on Friday, the track record for John Harbaugh is you just don't play on Sunday. Yeah. If you don't practice all week, including Friday, your chances of getting out there are very slim. So while Pat Ricard didn't practice all week, still nursing this back and knee injury, the fact that he played or practiced on Friday gives me a glimmer of hope, although I still think, unfortunately, him and Nick Boyle are pretty questionable right now. What's your thoughts on those two guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think that Boyle is the one. I seriously doubt he goes. I think something else is going on there, and obviously he's coming off of a serious number of injuries. It wasn't like it was just one injury. So after he got pulled, he hasn't played for a while now since he came out initially. Yeah. I think they've really taken a step back and said, okay, let's not pull a Ronnie Stanley. Let's gauge this situation and back up. So I think that he won't play. But we need Ricard, man.
I know.
We need him.
I mean, especially when you consider what I'm about to go over next, and that's the offensive line injury woes. And he certainly helps kind of cover up some of those. So let's go over them now. First of all, Patrick Macari, maybe there's some good news here. He got in a limited participation session in all 3 days of practice this week. So maybe.
Dude, is he not a soldier?
I mean, this dude is so important to the Ravens. It's unbelievable. I mean,
I guarantee that hand has a break in it.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. I mean, and look, with an offensive lineman, you can say, well, how much do you it's not like you need to catch. Well, you use your hands in a very forceful way every single snap. And if you can't,
watch any of those offensive linemen that are on TV now, look at their fingers. Tell me they don't use their hands, boy.
I mean, that punch is an extremely important part of being able to block a guy in front of you, is if you have a strong and efficient punch. So, and of course, as much as holding's a penalty, every single offensive lineman does it pretty much on every play. And just tries to get away with it. So Patrick Macari, very questionable, but the fact that he practiced all week in a limited fashion gives us reason to be hopeful. This one, not so hopeful. Ben Powers did not participate all week. Are we going to see the first full day of Ben Cleveland this Sunday?
Yeah, you know what? I'm calling it. And I don't think John's mad about it. I mean, obviously he wants his guys healthy, but I want to see what Ben Cleveland can do. We've seen him, it's been on and off, and now we're seeing him on special teams pretty much on like the field goal unit, stuff like that. Get the big boy out there, get him moving. Let's see what he can do. See if he can move a body or two, right?
Yeah, I mean, let's trial by fire, right? Get him out there in an important game, and we'll see what happens. But there is some reason for concern when you consider the coaching has been picking Ben Powers to be the primary, fixture at left guard. So they're doing that for a reason. It's not because Ben Cleveland's, blowing him out of the water in practice. So obviously, there's some reason to be concerned there.
Yeah, certainly. But he was coming on in camp. I feel like right now some of it could have to do with the sake of consistency. Now that also doesn't mean that, if he were this much better, consistency goes out the window.
Yeah,
exactly.
They would ball that continuity.
I just want to say this really quickly. This is really random, Glenn, but I got to get your thoughts here. I was disappointed in Ravens fans this week. There's a lot of tweets going out about if you could bring 3 Ravens players back, who would you bring back? Now, there was one thread that said non-Hall of Famers. There was another thread that didn't care if they were Hall of Famers. I didn't see one that said Jonathan Ogden.
And this, what we're going through right now?
Yeah. Why would John? I don't care. Like, I love Ray Lewis.
Everyone.
I love Ray Lewis, Terrell Suggs, and Ed Reed. Right now, I'm taking Jonathan Ogden over all 3 of them based on the context of the situation.
Yeah, that'd be an interesting one. Maybe we'll have to do a show about that one, which I think we've already done one in the past.
2 years ago.
Yeah, but hey, it's a new day, so
that's
maybe
great.
We need to fire back up.
I didn't mean to commandeer your conversation.
No, that's okay. That's perfectly fine. Now, the good thing here, also another bit of good news on the offensive line. Alejandro Villanueva missed Wednesday and Thursday session, but is a full participant Friday, so I expect him to be out there.
Yeah.
And as tough at times as he had it on occasion, he's still the best option we have by far at left tackle. And then switching sides to the defensive side of the ball, Calais Campbell doesn't look like he's going to go this week. So thank goodness we've seen such an improvement in play from Brandon Williams, as well as those young guys with Metabike, Broderick Washington, really helping out and filling in and doing an admirable job. Because, look, as much as Aaron Rodgers gets a lot of the headlines, their 2-headed monster at running back is as good as pretty much anyone in the league. So if you can't slow down A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones, then I mean, your day's even longer with what Aaron Rodgers has at his disposal. So even though Calais doesn't look like he's going to go, the Ravens defense has still been pretty stout when it comes to stopping the run.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you 100%. So that'll be interesting, man, to see how we do without the big Calais up front.
The big fella. Now, as far as their injuries.
Okay. I think DK has that up. I think he has that as well.
Oh, perfect.
DK is getting fancy with it. But the one I wanted to mention that I think you omitted, which is good, that he's coming back. Another piece of good news. Look, he's not named a lot of people talk about, but Tylan Wallace has been showing out on special teams.
Mm-hmm.
And any positive impact that we can get. First of all, I didn't know the dude was that fast.
Yeah, he's quick.
Man, as a gunner, he is chugging down the field, but he'll be back. He made it through concussion protocol. But as far as the Packers go, obviously their list is about 1/10 of ours, so I assume that it won't take us as much time based on the sheer number. But Aaron is dealing with the toe. That's obviously number one, and it's not getting any better. But it also doesn't seem to have any effect on his game. So I don't. It doesn't make
me just take him off.
Concerned.
He's terrifying still.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, the other name here, I know you talked about the 2-headed monster, but Aaron Jones is obviously a name to be on the lookout for. He's got a knee and an illness, but he was limited today. So that, once again, that probably means he's going. St. Brown, I mean, if it's not Devontae, then
yeah, who cares?
You know what I mean? Are there any other names on this list that really?
Yeah, I mean, Bakhtiari, their left tackle, they're stud.
Yeah, but
they're
he's gonna
pro.
play, right?
No, he's been ruled out. If you see in the top right,
oh my gosh, yeah,
but he's been battling. I think he's working his way back and has been out for most of the year.
I don't know the kid that's come in. What's his name?
He's played well.
The undrafted rookie. He's been playing out of his mind. So great find for the Packers. Certainly, it has not had a serious impact on their line. So yeah, that's a great point.
So they're used to playing without Bakhtiari at this point. So even though he is a big loss, it's nothing new for them.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, Gina? Shout out, Gina. Appreciate it. Yeah, AJ Dillon is one to watch. Shout out. No doubt about it. The Quadzilla is terrifying.
Yeah.
And he is certainly coming to Baltimore to hang out the bank. All right, so let's get into some more stuff. Now that the injury stuff is all over, let's start talking some statistics. Let's get into some numbers. Let's talk the Ravens offense versus the Packers defense. And I'm going to start with the Packers defense and kind of let you know what to expect here.
That's a good defense, dude.
Yeah, I mean, the offense, again, hogs a lot of the spotlight, but you're talking about the 6th overall defense, both in yards and in points. So this is a talented group, okay? And they turn you over pretty well too. They're 8th in the league in turning over the opposing offense. But what's most impressive about them is that when you consider their offense is 1st in the league in turnovers. So they're certainly on the plus side, which the Ravens are on the big time negative when it comes to turnover ratio. But we'll get into that in a moment. And then defensively, passing, they're 8th in passing yards. They're 9th in rushing yards. So this isn't a team that's only good at one thing and not so hot at the other. This is top 10 rushing and passing defense. So this is a team that can get it done in a variety of ways. They obviously have a talented secondary. And they have a talented front seven. Now, they're beat up in the front seven from some familiar faces that we're used to seeing out there, but they still got some absolute studs, and we're going to go over some players I would say that you should watch out for on the defensive side of the ball. The first of which is Devondre Campbell, leads their team in tackles, and it's not even close. It's not even a discussion how much further ahead he is. And this is what you expect from your linebacker, right? I mean, this is kind of the numbers we were hoping to see from Pat Queen this year, where he just separated himself by a wide margin. He's got 115 combined tackles. Second place is Adrian Amos, by the way, from Baltimore, and he's at 71. So you're talking
which is more than Patrick Queen.
Yeah. So this guy is an absolute tackling machine. And so if you got a ball in your hands, be on the lookout for Devondre Campbell, because he's probably coming to get you. And then Preston Smith, the other stud on their front seven. He's got 7 sacks on the year so far. And so watch out for him, because we lead the league in sacks surrendered. So be on the lookout for him. Rashawn Gary's got 6.5. Be on the lookout, because this offensive line has had a tough time keeping its quarterback upright.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just got to take a step back, Glenn. Did we forget to talk about Lamar Jackson injury report?
You know what? I think we did.
But you know why we didn't? Because we're getting ready to talk about it right now with the Ravens offense.
Let's do it.
But I just wanted to make sure I wasn't going crazy there.
But why was he not on? Was he not on it? I didn't see him. Why don't I see him on the injury report? Oh, yeah, he is. He is. Yeah.
And I think we kind of subconsciously did it because we knew we were going to dedicate some serious time to it, right?
Yeah, and we talked so much off the air that I guess it just slipped our minds. But yeah, he is on there, DNP, with that ankle injury. And look, the Ravens signed Josh Johnson off the Jets practice squad, and if that wasn't indication enough that he's not playing, then obviously the fact that he didn't participate in today's practice pretty much sealed the deal. Lamar Jackson will not be out there.
Yeah. So, I wanted to get into a conversation about it. So you think there's no way?
No chance.
Not a chance. Not
Zero.
A snowball's chance in hell.
John can tell me all he wants, but all he's doing is trying to somehow confuse or mislead the other team, even though they know he didn't practice all week. He's hurt, and he's not playing that well, before that. So why would you throw a guy out there who's hobbled, hasn't practiced all week, over a guy in Huntley who showed a lot of promise, showed a lot of people that he can be a guy you can count on, even when it's an unexpected situation. So certainly a guy who's now you give him a whole week of practice, and the unfamiliarity that the defense is going to have with him, like it's just more unknown. Like the Packers don't exactly know the game plan because they're not that familiar with Huntley. So I think that gives the Ravens a little bit of an advantage in one area.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I think the chances are extremely small, but at the same time, there's a part of me that feels like Lamar Jackson is very heroic in his persona as a football player. And so some part of me thinks that he could run out of that tunnel. You know what I mean? And
I wonder if he'll be if he's active. That would be interesting.
Yeah, but 99.9% of me agrees with you 100%. But anyway, so let's get into our Ravens.
I'm right sometimes, all the time, sometimes.
Wait, what?
You said 99% agrees with you 100%. That's like I'm right.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe I just
all
said
the time,
that.
sometimes.
Oh, 99.9% of me agrees with your point, right? Like your take that he's not playing. Okay. All right, so the Ravens. The offense, we're talking about their defense versus our offense. Overall, 5th. You want to talk about a facade. Rushing 3rd, passing 12th, tied for 16th in scoring. And to back that up with some numbers, ladies and gentlemen, right now we are averaging 23.5 points a game. We are net. We talked about this. We're going to use net passing yards per game at 243 and rushing yards a game. We're at 144. So the Ravens offense has some decent statistics. They're not real as far as the trend. Like if you had a graph and that showed trends, I mean, it was up here. And I mean, it is, if we were a stock right now, in fact, on symbol, if you like Ravens and you believe in them, go buy it right now. This is the first time I've seen the Ravens under $50. I think they're $44. Go buy some Ravens symbol stock because I still believe it's in the long term. But that being said, not feeling too hot about the offense this week. There,
really, no encouraging signs after what you saw Tyler Huntley do last week.
So I guess I should rephrase my statement. Not feeling hot, not because I think that Tyler Huntley, in fact, he's just spoiler alert, he's my offensive breakout player of the game. I think he will play well. The problem is that defense is really dang good. Defense is just good. So it's just a tough proposition and a tough scenario to put him in. So, but yeah, not feeling real confident. Not nearly as confident as I would be in comparison if Lamar Jackson were coming out there. So yeah, who is your offensive breakout player of the game?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to look anywhere but Big 89. Big Mandrews is on the cusp of breaking 1,000 yards. He needs, I think, 70 something
74, to
get there.
I think, or 74 and a half.
So I think he gets it this game. I'm telling you right now, he's first in receiving yards, first in receptions, first in 20+ yard receptions, and first in fantasy points among all tight ends. This guy is an
even
absolute
after last
stud.
night with Kelsey tearing it up.
Well, I mean, I guess you have to wait until
that's true.
Everyone plays the same amount of games. But this was, I think, before that game. But we'll see what Andrews does to match and answer the performance, because you're right, Kelsey absolutely went off, and that touchdown at the end was you talk about poor tackling. Oof, that was embarrassing. But I got to go with my man Andrews. This guy is a stud, and it looks like Huntley certainly looks for him in those big moments.
Yeah, for sure. So I think that's a fair answer. But Huntley being my breakout player of the game, how did I cheat?
You cheated. First of all, the quarterback has the ball every play. That's cheating, number one. Second of all, what's the difference in the bar here? Like, for Andrews to be the breakout, he's got a high bar. What does Tyler have to do for you to win this breakout player?
Well, you will see at the end of the show.
Okay, all right.
So you'll have to wait and see. But this is a big part of what will make me consider him a breakout player of the game. My key to the game is that we don't beat ourselves and turn the ball over. If somehow we can win the turnover battle in that he doesn't fumble and he doesn't throw an interception, that would be a huge contributing factor to him being the breakout player of the game for me. So I think that that's really important and a big part of, if the Ravens have a chance to win, they got to play clean. If not this game, I mean, this game more than any other game. So you can't have a performance where the quarterback throws 4 interceptions and we even sniff the idea of winning, because Aaron Rodgers is going to make us pay. So my key to the game offensively is play clean. Don't turn the ball over and somehow win the turnover battle, which statistically is not very likely based on season trends between both teams. They're on the exact opposite end of the spectrum. But what about you? What is your offensive key to the game?
I couldn't agree more. I mean, I think I kind of cheated a little bit and I put 2. I put up here win the time of possession and win the turnover battle, because You're right. I mean, the Ravens on the season, Jimbo, are -9. -9 on the season. And the Packers, +12.
Oh,
+12, Jimbo.
That's a
+12 to
serious problem.
-9.
What's that margin?
I mean, that's 21.
Uh,
That's a massive,
uh,
I just, so yeah, that's my key to the game. Do I think it's going to happen? No, I don't. Because Aaron Rodgers every year, I mean, it's funny. He said that, and look, we are not fans of the Packers or not, but I mean, you got to appreciate the absolute greatness of Aaron Rodgers. I'm going to give you his worst year, Jimbo. You ready for his least successful year over the last, I mean, however many, we'll say 10. Over the last 10 years, his worst year when he played a full season is 25 touchdowns and 2 picks. That's his worst year.
What's the year? Do you know the year what's the year that he's thrown the highest number of interceptions?
His most interceptions in his career was in 2010. He had 11. He had 11 interceptions. Oh, no, I'm sorry. In 08, he had 13. So he's had 2 years where he went double digits, and that's in 2010, he had 11. In 2008, he had 13. But that's a long time ago. I mean, you're talking about in 2011, he had 45 and 6. In 12, he had 39 and 8. He got hurt in 13. He had 17 and 6. But, last year he had 48 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. 48 and 5. I mean, are you freaking kidding me? This guy.
What's Huntley? He's like 38 and 4.
What?
I'm joking, obviously.
Just as a reference, Lamar had 36 and 6 during his MVP year. So even that, I mean, is far short of the 48 and 5. Although, of course, you got to add the rushing numbers, which certainly get Lamar a lot closer in total touchdowns. But yeah, I mean, golly, I mean, he's just a terrifying player to come in town. And although he's not the winningest, he's got to be the most talented and best quarterback, of this generation. He might not have the titles, but he's got everything else.
Yeah, I mean, I can't disagree with you on that. Other than I'll Lamar Jackson.
They played a little bit different eras.
And, I was going to say they don't. They're not a direct overlap to me either, right? Like there's a significant age difference when you're more than 10 years apart.
Yeah.
I think that's fair to say you're in different generations.
I think he had already won a Super Bowl. He had already done a lot before Lamar.
I think Lamar was in middle school, right?
Yeah, exactly. Definitely different eras there. But yeah, let's get more into their offensive stats. Yeah. We talked a lot about Aaron Rodgers already, but let me just finish out what else they do offensively. So offensively in points, they rank 14th. In yards, they rank 13th. So not necessarily lighting it up, but certainly not on the bad side there. Number 1 in turnovers, though. They've only had 10 total turnovers this season. So they hold on to the ball. And I mean, that's a huge part of the game is if you can hang on to the ball. Of course, first in interceptions, Aaron Rodgers leads the league with just 5. And then actually he doesn't even have all 5 because Jordan Love threw one of them at least. And then rushing, they're 21st in yards. So certainly passing is their forte, but as I mentioned, they got a 2-headed monster. Even if Aaron Jones, let's say Aaron Jones doesn't play, A.J. Dillon is a workhorse. I mean, this is a guy who can carry the load if he needs to. He's kind of like, Gus Edwards is here. Yeah, we'd love to have J.K. and Gus, but if we only had Gus, we'd be just fine. And I think that's how they feel with A.J. Dillon, or Quadzilla, as he's affectionately known in Green Bay. But, it's hard to find a weakness on this team, Jimmy, when you just look at the stats.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a tough one, man, and just a daunting matchup. I mean, not really too much else to say other than the fact that I think the Ravens will find a way to make it interesting. But let's talk about now the Ravens defense in this matchup, because this defense, man, I'll tell you what, you talk about a tale of two teams, right?
Mm-hmm.
We are first in the league in rushing and 31st in defending the pass. That is just incredible. Hot and cold. That is just good and bad, right? Not good. So, and we're 16th overall. We're allowing.
It just shows you the potential, though, Jimmy. I mean, just imagine if they were healthy.
The health. I know, but it also does. And I can understand it, rightfully so. People will find ways to criticize Wink Martindale for not finding a way to protect those serious weaknesses, right? Like, I think that that's at least a valid conversation to have, while I also think that Wink is in his seat is about as hot as.
Watch out for Jacksonville. That's all.
Well,
I'm
yeah,
saying.
him getting picked off, sure. But I also think that if the Jacksonville Jaguars are smart, they want a coach that builds culture, number one, but also can help that quarterback. I think that would be the only knock on Wink.
The only reason I kind of think is because there's a staff there on defense that is basically
Wink.
the Ravens' defensive former assistants. So
yeah,
no,
I agree with
make
you.
A lot of sense.
And RG3 was tweeting about that.
Yeah,
and was lobbying for that.
You wouldn't have to worry about the culture change. He would certainly take care of that. The only thing is, can he get an offensive coordinator to help develop his young stud at quarterback? Yeah.
Yeah. Would you be okay with him taking Greg? A lot of people seem to be okay with it these days.
I don't think he would want to take Greg for Trevor Lawrence. I don't see the natural fit there.
Yeah, no, I'm being sarcastic here, but all right. So we as a defense are allowing 21.8, so call it 22 points a game. Not great in the air. Like I said, on the ground, we're only giving up 85.5 a game, but in the air, Glenn, we are net 266 yards per game. That's brutal. I don't really know what else to say other than the fact that it's just not good. And
well, here's the problem: you're not covering well, and you're not getting to the passer well.
Yeah.
So when you're not doing either, you're not influencing them in either direction, and you don't tackle well. I mean, it's hard to contain them. But I mean, you're 31st, and Aaron Rodgers is coming to town.
Yeah. And you know what? Let's get right to that, Glenn. I want to give my defensive key to the game here, and then we can kind of do it out of order. I'll then after that give my breakout. We can get our breakout players. But my defensive key to the game is stop the run, and before the game, get on your hands and knees and pray to whoever it is you believe. Whatever mighty higher power you believe in. If it's the football gods, whatever you got to do, that Aaron Rodgers will make a mistake.
Yes,
because if you can stop the run, stop that ridiculous duo that they have, and find a way to make it so the way they're moving the balls in the air, they're okay with that. But if somehow you can make Aaron Rodgers make a mistake, or you can pray hard enough that he makes a mistake, that's really their only way to win, in my opinion. So defensive key, stop the run. You can't have both things working for them. You at least got to take one of them away. And I think it's more likely the Ravens take the run away.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I agree with you. Mine is hold them to field goals. I mean, they're going to move the ball. The only chance I see the Ravens having is if they tighten up and prevent them from getting in the end zone. That's really the only thing. I mean, Mason Crosby's certainly been a guy who's been around a long time, but he's had moments where he's looked really, really bad. I mean, you look at the Cincinnati game earlier in this year when him and the kicker for the Bengals was going back and forth, smoking kick after kick. I think they missed 5 consecutive kicks in one game. So if you can hold them to field goal attempts, and maybe Crosby has an off day, considering it is tough to kick in Baltimore, and I'd like to look up the last time he kicked a field goal in Baltimore. I bet you got to go back a ways because they don't come.
Yeah,
to
he
town
might not have
often.
had gray hair back then.
Exactly, he might have been a young stud back then, but now he's an old vet. But that's really, in my opinion, the best chance the Ravens have is holding them to 3 instead of 7.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. If we can find a way to tighten up a few, even if if we did something crazy like 3 times and we could take advantage of those, this could be a ball game, right?
Yeah, especially if he can maybe miss one of those 3 times.
Yeah, there you go. On top of it, so my defensive breakout player of the game.
Who is it, Jimmy? I mean, I'd like to know.
Yeah, you're not gonna like it. It's B. Will, dude. I'm going with Brandon Williams, big baby. Look,
how can you quantify that? By simply looking at their total yards?
He's getting a sack.
No, he is not.
He's getting a sack. You heard it right here.
Williams
right here.
Not
Brandon Williams is getting a sack. He's been trending. He's been getting better every week, week upon week upon week.
Who's he sacking? Is Jordan Love going to be in the game?
No, look, maybe in the fourth quarter. No, I'm kidding. No. But I think, look, he's getting a sack. You heard it here. Brandon Williams is getting a sack, okay?
Look, unless both his pinky toes fall off, there ain't going to be no sacking of Aaron Rodgers from that big fella. But he could have a big game, and he has certainly lately. It's just hard to quantify that. But
Can I count? Hold on. Can I count? What if it's not a sack, but he absolutely bodies Aaron Rodgers?
Oh, I'll give you that. If
it turns into an interception or like something like that, right? Like
I'll give it to you if he blows up one of the running backs in the backfield for like
happening.
a 2-3 yard loss.
Hey,
okay, all right. I hope you're right. Mine's going to be Anthony Averett. Maybe even more unlikely than Brandon Williams.
Going against Adams?
Going against Devontae Adams. That guy around. What I think's going to happen is we're going to see a mistake from A-Rob. We're going to see him read back shoulder.
Wait. You're talking to me about Brandon Williams. You're saying A-Rob's going to make a mistake.
We're going to see a miscommunication, and it's probably going to be on Devontae Adams, actually, where Devontae is going to have a go route, and Aaron Rodgers is going to throw back shoulder, and it's going to be right into the waiting hands
right out of bounds
of Anthony Averett. And it's going to be a big-time play that is going to be surrounded by some bad plays from Anthony Averett. But that one big-time play is why he's my breakout defensive player. Because, I looked around, I said, who the heck am I going to pick for a defensive breakout? I mean, it's hard to pick a guy because you got to pick a guy.
I'm surprised you didn't pick your buddy, Mr. Microphone Cover himself.
Look, man, I think I'm bad luck because every time I pick him, he does nothing. And when I don't pick him, he does something. So I'm not going to pick Odafe Owe the rest of the year in hopes he goes on a run that makes you eat that microphone.
People are giving us a hard time right now about our picks, but you guys tell us who your picks are. Give us your picks. Like, don't just tell us our picks are bad because it's slim pickings these days.
Yeah, I mean, who are you going to go with? I mean, we don't even know half these guys are going to be out there. I mean, I could pick Chuck Clark. And hope he gets his hand on a tip ball. But even if he does, I think I could go and hand Chuck Clark a ball and he would somehow drop it.
Twice. He would throw it in the air and then smash it on the ground and spike it.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough out there.
Somebody just said Westry. Now you're tripping.
Well, he's saying because he ain't going to be guarding Adams. Well, if he's guarding Valdez-Scantling, watch out too. Because I think Valdez-Scantling is going to run away from him. So that – and honestly, I don't see Averett shadowing – Adams anyway. I think they're all going to take their turn on him.
Yeah, it's really funny to me because when you watch I've talked about this before, Wink and Marlon Humphrey, how they communicate, and Marlon's going back out on the field, the Browns game when he's wired, and he just looks at Wink, and Wink says, best in the world, and he says, guard your man, right?
That's it.
And Wink and Marlon's like, that's it. That's all it is, guard your man. Now he's looking over at Averett, and he's looking over at Adams, and he's like, guard your man. You think he's been a lot less confident about that proposition?
He whispers, he's like, guard your man. Like,
yeah.
Not even confident.
Yeah.
Look, I see
Jesus is a good pick.
Yeah, Iman picked Jesus for his breakout player, and I think we're at least going to need some angels in the outfield. If anyone remembers that movie, which, by the way, I just watched with my son not long ago. It still holds up, still a classic. But, yeah, unless we get some angels in the outfield, it's going to be tough sledding to slow down this offense. I like that, Lisa Ann. You said Tyus Bowser. I like that. I think Tyus Bowser, you know what? If I could change mine, I would, because I think that's a great pick because he's going to have an opportunity to impact the game as a pass rusher, as a run defender, and in coverage. And you never know. A tip pass at the line, I have most confidence that Tyus Bowser would actually be able to hold on to it if he gets near it. So I like Lisa Ann's there. I'm a little disappointed in myself I didn't come up with it. But, great minds, Lisa Ann, she's
she thought of it by herself.
Well, yeah, you're right. You're right. Okay. All right. So let's move on.
You could have said real recognizes real. Right?
Like that would have been more applicable. That feels like you got to be a little cooler than I am to say that. And
fair enough.
I'm not. Don't agree so quickly, Jimbo. You could have disagreed. You didn't have to say fair enough. But thank you. So, I mean, overall, before we get into our competition and do you, any overall thoughts on this game? Like, and I'll start that way you don't have too much pressure. I would just say
I got lots of thoughts.
Well, I mean, just kind of encapsulating all this. What I would say is the Ravens have a history of playing up to their competition as well as playing down. So, although this game doesn't look necessarily like it's leaning in the favor, we have to remember this is still a team that's highly motivated and still has all its goals in front of them. So while they're beat up, they're banged up, but so is everyone else right now. So I'm sure John is preaching that and saying we have just as good opportunity as anyone in the AFC right now, and let's go seize it. So I wouldn't say the Ravens have, I wouldn't be stunned to see the Ravens win this game. Absolutely not. And so, although, they got some things working against them, this is still a home game against a Green Bay team that's beat up as well, including their quarterback who's going to miss the entire week of practice as well. So I wouldn't be absolutely shocked to see the Ravens pull this one off. So let's have some hope and let's enjoy it. And I think it'll be an entertaining game.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you 100%. If John can turn this into a battle of field position, a battle like a low scoring affair, where there's a few plays and a few calls from a coaching standpoint that would make the difference, which he has a tendency to do in these type of games where he's relatively outmatched talent wise.
Yeah.
He gives his team a chance. So I would agree with you 100%. You know what? Can I just do this? This is unprecedented. I'm skipping ahead, all right? Because I'm just going to let you know. The Ravens are winning this football game, Glenn. I'm picking the Ravens to win. Before we get to our over-under, I'm telling you right now.
Does it count when you pick it? Does it really impact us when you pick them?
24. Look, this is the closest I've been.
They could be playing the Monstars.
24-21. Baltimore Ravens pull it off in shocking fashion. This seems like a serious possible trap / letdown / look pass game for even the seasoned Aaron Rodgers. I think that John is people are going to hate me for this. Not all people. I think John is an incredible coach. And if he can find a way to make this a low scoring affair, and if Tyler Huntley cannot turn the football over, I think we win this football game. Look, last week we win that game against the Browns if Tyler Huntley doesn't fumble. He played well enough to win except those 2 plays. So if he can clean that up and have a similar performance, look out. And the Browns defense is no slouch either. So that's all I'm saying. That is not true. Iman's killing me. Whenever Jimmy picks, we lose. Lord, Jimmy, why? I always pick the Ravens. And we got a relatively good record the past 3 years since we've been on the show. I'm just saying.
Hey, let's remember, this Packers team did lose 38-3 to the Saints in a game this year.
Yeah.
So they can be gotten. And let's just hope that this Sunday is one of those times. But we got to talk about.
The Marshawn Lynch says, we going to get mine more than I get got, though.
Did you say the Marshawn Lynch?
Yes, the Marshawn Lynch.
Okay.
That's my favorite quote from his. He knows he's going to get his more than he gets got, though.
Okay, I like it. I appreciate that. But let's talk about who this show is brought to us by. Jimmy touched on it earlier. Symbol is the sponsor for this show, and of course, a whole new take on investing in your sports team rather than traditional gambling. We don't need to do that. Just go to symbol.app, use promo code 410. Your first $500 is risk-free. So you can invest your money in your sports knowledge. And if you want to get the Ravens, they are a bit on the downside right now. But of course, if they get a win, you will get instant money, in return for that win, but as well as continue to build your portfolio. And look, there's a lot of teams around the league that some are going up and some are going down. As long as you get to catch a team that's on the upslide, or uptick, is it downslide, uptick?
We'll take upslide.
Yeah, you could make a pretty penny. So let me just tell you who we're on lately. We're on the Detroit Lions, and the reason being, they got a coach they love. They're going to have the number 1 overall pick, and they could use that pick to accumulate a ton of picks and pick the best non-quarterbacks available if they buy into Jared Goff. That's just one team that you could consider. Of course, never a bad idea to get some Ravens stock when you consider in 5 years, as long as they average 10 wins a year, you make how much? What did you determine? What did you come up with, Jimbo?
Well, yeah, you have to put in a certain amount of money.
Okay.
So loose numbers, you put in about 10. Put about 10 G's. We'll just say, for example, right on the Ravens. Okay.
10 G's. Hold on. Let me check my pockets.
In 5 years, if they win 50 games, they win 10 games per season, you're making a cool $3,500, $4,000.
10 games. That's easy money.
We're doing that if Lamar Jackson is healthy.
That's easy money.
I mean, and you tell me where else you're getting a return on investment like that, and I'll hop on board. But I'm just saying, there's definitely opportunities there. And in fact, like you said, Glenn, 2 things I just want to mention to highlight when it comes to Symbol. One, it's crazy to think that the Ravens are, like I said, the first time under $50, so go scoop it up. They were at 44, back up to 49. So that means one thing. People still believe in the Baltimore Ravens. So go invest in the Baltimore Ravens. Number 2, just like you said, the Lions are down to we bought them and they're still at $30. So go get in, because by the time draft comes around, it's going to be too late to catch that curve. Get in. It's going to be too late to catch that. What do you call it, Glenn? An upslide.
Yep, that's right. That's right. And the way my bank account's set up, I gotta do the it's just a shout out to Iman. Little inside joke there. If you're a Kevin Hart fan, you'll certainly understand the way my bank account.
Yeah, that's what he's talking about with D Wade, right? And he's like hanging out with that. Yeah,
like you can't hang out with athletes because they got that crazy money. Absolutely. But yeah, check out Symbol. I think you'll find it's a very unique.
Look, you don't need $10,000. That was just an example, guys.
It's the sports market. It's the stock market of sports. So all your major sports. So if you're a basketball fan, you'll certainly benefit there as well. But let's get into the most important part of our preview show. That's of course our competition. So we have both an in-show as well as a fan competition every week where we have a series of over-unders. And those who perform best in those over-unders then advance to the next stage where we have a tiebreaker with a couple of closest to the pins. So it's very simple. If you want to participate, all you have to do is DM us on any of the major social networks or wait for this live session to be over and simply comment on this video below. Let us know your over-unders for all 4, your score, your winner, and, of course, your total yardage for the Ravens. And that's kind of how we use. If we have a tie amongst the over-unders, we use first the score and winner as the first tiebreaker. If we're still tied, then we'll use total yards as the final tiebreaker. We'll announce the winner in our post-game show, which, by the way, I wanted to mention, this is a 4:30 game, guys, or 4:25. This game has been flexed. So if you have an old schedule laying around, it's going to say 1 o'clock.
Don't make sure confused.
Make sure you're not a little early. Don't want to miss it. So after the game, we will announce the show winner as well as the fan winner. You'll simply then, if you're announced as the winner, DM us your address and your shirt size, and a 410 Sports Talk shirt shows up at your door, just in time or right around the time of the holidays. So, Jimmy, let's get into it. If we have to, we can address last week's results. Although, like I said before the show, I'm looking forward. I don't look backwards. Okay. And right now, future's bright for your boy. Future's bright.
Where are your sunglasses?
Future's bright. I don't know, but at the hand visor. All I'm saying is watch out for your boy this week. Okay. All
right.
So let's get into it.
My head's on a swivel because I won last week and I'm looking forward to this week.
Look, it better be on a swivel because you're gonna see me real quick.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be gone. And see, we gotta keep pulling this up. Look, guys, first of all, I need an independent third party to review these results because only DK has accumulated these results. And I need verification from an unbiased source because, clearly DK's got some skin in the game and I got a 40% just doesn't sound like
look,
the G-Man.
The results are public information, Glenn. You can go do it.
That's true. But again, I look forwards. I tend not to look backwards.
All right. Well, that's a good mentality to have based on where you're at in the standings.
Well, I can only go forwards. All right. So this week, our first over-under that we would love for you guys to participate in is Mark Andrews receiving yards. Set it at 74.5 did DK because 74 is what he needs to get to 1,000 yards for the season. So shout out to Mark Andrews first and foremost. But Jimmy, will he go above 74.5 yards?
Nah, this isn't the game. I think that I think he gets around 58. I just think it's going to be a low-scoring game. And I think that Tyler is comfortable chucking that ball on the outside. Not that Lamar isn't, but he likes dishing it out there and letting his receivers run under it, giving them an opportunity to get it done. So I think the increased number of targets to Bateman will take a little bit away from Mark. So I'm going with under.
Okay, well, you're wrong. It's going to be over. And let me explain to you why. He's like, let me explain to you why. I don't have to go much, I don't have to go back very far. Just last game when he had 11 catches for 115 yards on 11 targets. Every target thrown his way was gobbled up and advanced for first downs and one touchdown. So I think this is a slam dunk. I mean, this is a guy, he loves the target. And really, when I look around, I say, man, they got a pretty decent secondary, but I think you can kind of get them a little bit over the middle. So I'm going to say Andrews goes over the 74.5. All right, what's DK have to say? Is he copying off me again? Probably. Well, what do we got? Of course he is. I mean, the guy knows what he's doing, and copying after me is always a good move when it comes to the over-under challenges. Okay, all right. Next over-under, we have the Ravens yards per play. So their season average is 5.5. But last game, they averaged 5.6. So we set it at 5.55. Man, DK is getting real. I like these. This isn't some plain Jane over-unders, rushing yards. No, we're talking analytics here, okay?
Yeah, we are.
Talking analytics. So, Jimmy, will the Ravens go over 5.5 or 5.55 per play?
No.
They won't?
No, and I picked them to win. I just don't think they will, though.
I love how Andrews is going to stink up the joint. We won't have more than 5, but somehow we're going to win. I got to understand how this blueprint works.
Yeah, me too, because I don't see the path. I'm just guided by faith, baby. I'm just guided by faith because I can't see the path, okay?
Okay.
All right. I can see is the step in front of me.
Okay. All right.
But, yeah, I'm going under on this one. Guided by faith. I think our defense does a thing or two. And gets the job done, so we win this football game. But there'll be a lot of air yards this week, maybe, and field goals as well. Yeah, I'm going under.
Well, you're wrong again. We are going to be over. Look, Tyler Huntley is going to surprise a lot of people, but most importantly, he's going to surprise this Packers defense. He's going to say, look, I know I'm a young guy. I know I don't have a ton of experience, but I have a carefree attitude, and I play that way. So I love the fearlessness he plays with. He's not scared to get that ball out to his hot receiver. He's not scared to get the ball down the field and put some like air under the ball, like you're saying. Just imagine if he can start hitting those deep shots that he's been taking to Hollywood, because he's got the short, he's got the intermediate. If he can land some of these deep shots, holy smokes, this guy could have something. And look, defenses haven't necessarily figured out what he struggles at just yet. They think they can, well, maybe he's not so good at this. Let's put him in this situation. But they don't know what he struggles at yet. And I think that's a huge advantage for him. And I think that carefree attitude leads to a successful day. So for that reason, I say over. What do you think, DK? He's probably going to copy me again. Of course. Of course. Oh,
you see?
Oh, DK. Hey, anyway, I get this right, I'll be happy. But yeah, I could see that. Maybe some cheap yardage at the end. I can certainly understand that. Yeah, okay, all right. So me and DK agree on the first two, and Jimmy out on the limb disagreeing with the both of us.
I don't feel good about the second one, but I feel good about the first one.
I'll tell Mark that when we talk.
I think Bateman might go off and take just enough from Mark to keep it under that number, but I'm not feeling great about the second one.
Okay. All right. Well, let's move on to the defense. Right now, we have the first one set as Ravens sacks. Got it set at 2.5. Season average is 2.
Yeah, under. It's Aaron Rodgers. He's not getting sacked except by Brandon Williams.
I was going to say, Brandon Williams has got you one.
Because Brandon Williams is just going to surprise you.
So you're telling me Brandon Williams is the only player who gets a sack?
Brandon Williams, the center's going to slip on a banana peel. And Brandon Williams is going to belly flop him. It's just going to be a weird.
Dude, you know what? This is how you're going to get this. They're going to fumble the snap. And Aaron's going to jump on it. And Brandon's going to tag him.
Touch him. He's just going to.
You're going to win on a technicality. Son of a gun.
Hey, look, Adafe got a sack on Jarvis Landry.
Hey, he was lined up as a quarterback, okay?
Blah.
Hey, it's not easy to sack the Wildcat quarterback, okay? That ain't easy.
He blindsided him. Any other quarterback would have heard that guy coming from 10 yards away. Jarvis is like,
you mean to tell me Jarvis doesn't have better pocket presence than Baker Mayfield? Even you can't say that. I'll take Jarvis. Anyway, I say under. Obviously, I mean, huge under. Yeah. It's A-Rod. The guy has a sixth sense, and this pressure has not been good right now for the Ravens, so I have no reason to think that they're going to go above that number. What do you think, DK? Over. Oway coming through. I hope you're right, because every time I pick him, he does squat, and usually when I don't pick him, he does something. So, hey, you might be onto something here, DK, and I certainly hope you're right, because if we can get 3 sacks or more, that'll certainly help the Ravens maybe getting that win column. All right, this next one, I had to go into some research for this one because this one kind of blew my mind. So DK set this next over-under for total tackles by the Baltimore Ravens. And he set it at 65.5. Now, just to give you some context, last week the Ravens had a total of 69 tackles on the game, and the Browns had a total of 65. Now, this is including solo tackles and assisted tackles. That's why the number looks crazy. You're like, 65 tackles? Holy smokes. So that's all combined, solo and total tackles. And again, last week the Ravens had 69. So for me, I'm going to say that they go over that. And I think the reason, unfortunately, is because I think they're going to be on the field a lot. I think the Packers are going to have some sustained drives, and because of that, we're going to have a lot of opportunities for tackles. So hopefully we go above that, because if we go under, then I think that's just big plays, and that's what I don't want to see. So hopefully we go over that, but that's more of a good reason than a bad. But I guess either way, if you get to 69 tackles, that can't be a great performance by your defense. But unfortunately, I go over. What do you think, Jimmy?
Yeah, I'm going over as well. I think I'm going over here because they're going to have plenty of opportunities. I'm really pigeonholing myself in this entire prediction of this game. Look, let me just say again that the Ravens are winning.
Yeah, I did. I can't tell by your
But I just need to make sure that my logic lines up. I am going over. All right, I'm going over because I think the Ravens, just in general, this is about as specific as I'd like to get. I feel like I'm in the court of law. They will be on defense for a decent amount of time.
So the offense isn't going to perform well, according to you. The defense isn't going to perform. What is Justin Tucker going to kick 37 field goals?
No. Look, thanks. I appreciate you giving me a path forward here, DK. But no, look, what I'm saying is this. I didn't say the offense wasn't going to perform well. Well, I did say the offense wasn't going to perform well. I think the defense is coming through, okay? I think they're coming through. I don't know how yet. I don't know how. I just can't
Brandon Williams
to lose.
It's our guy. Right. Dude, I love how your homerism just won't let you pick against us, but everything you're predicting says you're picking against us. That's the best part.
Well, part of it is because, like, if I pick against us, it's got to be a worthwhile pick against us.
A-Rod?
Yeah, that's fine. But what I'm saying is that, like,
look, you can't even come up with something. And you're pretty good on your feet, but you can't even.
If I'm picking against us, it's got to be more of a landslide than this.
Okay.
Look, hold on a second, though. This is the thing.
Yeah.
Is that I'm not going to say anything, but it's not even like you guys are picking us to getting blown out. You know, no one's picking us to getting blown out, whether you win or lose. The game is not going to be by a wide margin.
Okay.
So I'm not I'm not crazy.
No, you're not crazy. You're not crazy. It just looked like you would have had different predictions.
Sure, certainly. Look, I'm led by faith. It's one step at a time, and that's all it is, baby. That's all it is.
Okay. All right.
I believe.
All right. I think you let God take the keyboard when you predicted the score and final. I think you said, God, take the keyboard.
He did. He knew what he was doing.
All right, so let's move on to
I'm losing my credibility by the minute right now. It's just not looking good for me. I just can't pick us to lose, guys. I'm emotional about my Ravens, okay?
Can't do it. Okay, DK says over. Okay, all right. So Jimmy is clearly the outlier, but we all have an opportunity and a path to become the winner, which I like. There's no overall ties because I don't like that, even though I'd be fine if it came down to the tiebreakers because I'm confident in that as well. But I do like that it will come down. It looks like it could come down just to the over-unders. All right, let's do the total yards for the Ravens. That's our second tiebreaker behind, of course, the score, but we'll save that for last. So, Jimmy, what are the Ravens' total yards for this upcoming game? Again, I mean, just confusing, but go ahead.
324. I have no explanation. The way that we're winning this football game is similar to when Trent Dilfer was our quarterback. That's all I'm envisioning, okay? That's how it's getting done. Our defense is going to have to do some major work. Brandon Williams is going to be bench pressing people. I mean, that's how it's getting done. 324. That's what I'm going with.
Okay. All right. I'm going to say 345. Surprisingly, me and Jimmy, you look like you're on the low end here. So, again, another head scratcher here. But, yeah, I got us going 345 yards. I think there's going to be some success. I think Huntley showed that he can move the ball, and I've been impressed with him. So I want to see what the kid's got, and I think it leads to some decent yardage total. What do you think, DK? 360. So he has the most confidence in this Ravens offense going up against that Packer defense that has shown that it can be had. Now, it's had excellent games as well, but it's also had games where it certainly didn't perform too good. So we'll see what happens. But total score, I'll say it now. I picked us to lose last week, and unfortunately, I'm going to have to do it again. I got the Packers winning this game 27-20 for a total score of 47 points. But I wouldn't be stunned to see the Ravens pull off this win. This is kind of one of those games that the Ravens, a lot of people, look, how many people picked the Ravens to beat the Chiefs?
Just me.
Yeah, just you. You're the only one. You're the only one.
And I was right.
You were right. I got to give you credit there. So nobody's picking the Ravens to win this game, which is why I think they have an opportunity to do it. I wouldn't be stunned at all, although I am picking the Packers, unfortunately. What do you think, Jimbo?
No surprise there. I'm going
with that supposed to mean?
Yeah, I mean, I think you pick against us the most.
I've done it twice, 3 times all year. I was right
that's
twice.
Still the most. That's
okay.
Still the most.
All right. I hope I'm wrong every time, by the way.
24-21, Baltimore Ravens. And I'm going to go further out on a limb. I'm already on the limb. Might as well have fun with it, right?
Okay.
Sam Cook is going to have a completion in this game. This is a kitchen sink game, like Brad Ward said about the Browns game, by any means necessary. Right up here in my claw fist, I got a sign that says whatever it takes. That's what the Ravens are employing in this game. And Sam Cook is throwing for a completion. And if I'm not mistaken, he still has a perfect completion percentage. And he will continue that streak. Sam Cook, 15 to 18 yard reception for a first down in a critical moment. Just another way that we can get there and have obscure stats. And let me say something else. While my stats are ridiculously all over the place, there's a chance that I get the most right, except the winner of this game. There's definitely a possibility of that.
There's definitely a possibility. But can we agree that if it comes down to that as the tiebreaker, the first and foremost thing we look at is, did you pick the correct winner?
Sure. Yeah. But it might not even come to that.
It may not. It likely won't. All right, DK, what do you predict? Okay, again, he's copying off of me. Smart strategy. I like that.
He's in there beforehand. I just want to say.
Look, quit ruining my story with facts. Okay?
They're alternative facts.
Don't ruin a good story with these daggone facts. I don't like it one bit. But look, I hope I'm wrong. I would love to be wrong. But I'm going with my eyes and my brain, and I'm suppressing my heart right now. But let us know what you guys think. And again, if you want to participate in our over-under challenge, you simply DM us on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook, or wait for this live to be over and put it in the comments below. Let us know your over-unders for all 4 categories, as well as your score, winner, and total yards for the Baltimore Ravens. We'll announce the winner in our live post-game video.
Yep. Enjoy the evening. Have a great Friday. Go check out Symbol.
Hey, let me give a couple shout-outs, because I know he's about to duck out on us. See how he's about to leave y'all without some shout-outs? Got to give a big shout-out to Amon Thomas. Always hyping the likes. Today. Yeah, appreciate it. I love seeing you in there. Appreciate it so much. Pretty Sunshine. Appreciate your participation. Excuse me. My goodness. I'm getting older, Jimbo. Stuff's just sneaking out. Devon Johnson, appreciate your participation as well. Lisa Ann always got my back and always has the Ravens back. So we certainly
Lisa has the Ravens
that.
Getting 500 yards of offense this game.
don't hate on Lisa, okay?
No, I'm not, but
don't do that there, because you ain't gonna get a friend in me on this one, Jimbo. You're on your own on that one. We talk about a shaky limb. That's a shaky one. Gina Johnson, thank you so much for my girl Gina coming out there. Congratulations on the wedding. Shout out to Gina. I'm sure she's going to be, unfortunately, she's going to probably be supporting the Packers, but that's because her nephew is AJ Dillon. So I can't even be mad at her. Got to give credit there. And shout out to her for that. James Makel Jr. says Huntley's going to have a big game. Appreciate it, James. And I hope you're right. Dave Cutsale, I'm going to pretend that I didn't see that one message from your son who called us losers.
Yeah.
Called us losers. And actually, no, I'm not going to pretend I didn't see it. I'm going to pretend he was talking to DK and James. and then I agree with him. Brim, appreciate your comments as always and your participation. Jay Sean Crowder. Again, anyone who is participating, we like that you were doing it as we were going. But remember, if you want an actual entry into our competition, make sure you do so after the live is over, or do it on any of our social media platforms. I appreciate you guys coming out. Thanks so much. Do you mind? I'll try and hold that in. And we will talk in the post game.